With Donald Trump getting closer to clinching the Republican nomination, there's growing speculation about who he could choose as a running mate. A new article from Sabato's Crystal Ball weighs some options. It is called The Veepstakes Part 2, Trump's Temptation. A candidate who prefers flash might be better off playing it safe. And the article explains some of his choices, saying, quote, Trump could obviously go any number of ways on his vice presidential pick. His instincts, to the extent that we or anyone else can understand them, probably will push him in the direction of an attention-grabbing pick. But a better option would probably be a safer, more substantive selection. The co-author of that article, Kyle Kondik, joins us now, and he is a political analyst at the University of Virginia Center for Politics and managing editor of Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball. Sir, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You make a very interesting comparison between Jerry Jones in the draft in 2014, saying that he was tempted to go for flash and draft Johnny Manziel, and instead he went for substance, and he sort of regretted it. But you say Trump is sort of in the same position. Who's a flashy pick that he would be tempted, and why is that wrong?
Well, so I think certainly someone like Sarah Palin or Ben Carson are people that, are kind of outside of government and might get a lot of attention, but I don't necessarily know if they would help with what I think is probably Trump's biggest problem, which is that he needs to convince a majority of the voting public that, he's qualified to be president and that he's going to exercise good judgment as president. The VP pick is one of the only ways that a presidential nominee can sort of show his or her judgment. And I think that, while Palin or Carson, for instance, might be flashy picks, I don't necessarily know if they would help him in the long run.
You outline a lot of people that would help compensate with some of his weaknesses. Obviously, he's not terribly strong with women. He could choose someone that's female. He could choose someone that's a minority. Maybe he would choose someone that has a military background to compensate for the knowledge there. What are some of the names in those categories, and who do you think is strongest?
So one example is Senator Bob Corker from Tennessee, the head of the Foreign Relations Committee. He's someone who would bring some gravitas to the ticket, and I think also maybe reassure some conservatives who might be worried about Trump for one reason or the other. There are several state governors he might ask: John Kasich of Ohio, Scott Walker of Wisconsin, who he competed against in the presidential primary. They, I think, would reassure Republicans in different kinds of ways. Walker may be more appealing to kind of the more conservative part of the party. Kasich maybe more the moderate part of the party. And again, there are all sorts of names you could float out there. One of the questions that the actual potential candidates has to answer is, do they actually want the job? Now, one good sign for Trump is that it does seem like Republican elites have sort of rallied around him recently, maybe to an extent greater than one might have thought. And so that may sort of open up a wider range of possibilities that Trump could consider for his running mate.
Some of the women on your list are really interesting. Jan Brewer is somebody whose name, we've heard a number of times. Joni Ernst. Who do you think is strongest in the female category?
Joni Ernst is a new senator from Iowa who really got high marks for her campaign. She doesn't really bring a lot of experience to the table, though. Another interesting name that would be more of a kind of probably a lesser-known person is Shelley Moore Capito, who is the new senator from West Virginia. She was in the House for a long time. Capito is another person who's been around Capitol Hill for a long time, and I think is a pretty respected person.
Yeah, I see Chris Christie on your list as well, Lindsey Graham, and a lot of interesting choices. We will know soon enough. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.